Welcome to the Occult Knowledge Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Carter. The Ishtar Gate, one of the marvels of the ancient world, still stands in modern-day Iraq as a testament to the grandeur and mystique of the ancient Babylonian Empire. But beneath the cobalt-blue tiles adorned with dragons and aurochs lies a story that is less frequently told, a tale of spiritual warfare and occult practices that permeated the fabric of society. The Babylonians, like many ancient civilizations, believed in the existence of a spiritual realm that shadowed our own, a world where gods, demons, and other supernatural entities resided. They saw their existence as intrinsically linked to this realm, and their well-being dependent on maintaining a harmonious relationship with these invisible forces. Thus, they developed complex rituals, incantations, and ceremonies as a means to influence this spiritual realm. And at the heart of these practices was warfare, not between armies of men, but between the powers of the spiritual realm. The Babylonians saw their earthly struggles mirrored in the spiritual world. A good harvest, a victorious battle, even the birth of a healthy child was seen as the result of spiritual forces working in their favor, and conversely, illness, famine, and defeat were signs of spiritual attack. This belief permeated every aspect of life in Babylon, from the highest levels of the palace to the humblest of homes. Even the king was not above these practices. In fact, the king was often seen as the chief warrior in this spiritual battle, his victories and defeats seen as directly tied to his relationship with the gods. But these were not just blind faith rituals. The Babylonians developed a complex system of divination and magic, using tools like astrology, dream interpretation, and omens to decipher the will of the gods and predict the outcomes of their spiritual warfare. Such a profound belief in the spiritual realm and its influence on the physical world led to an intense focus on protection from malevolent forces. Amulets and talismans were commonly used, inscribed with powerful incantations designed to ward off evil spirits. Cities were designed with spiritual protection in mind, with temples and sacred spaces often positioned at strategic points to form a protective barrier against spiritual attack. However, not all of these practices were defensive. The Babylonians also believed in the power of curses and dark magic. Tablets have been found with inscriptions of curses directed at enemies, invoking the wrath of the gods and asking them to bring calamity and ruin upon them. This occult warfare was not a fringe part of Babylonian society. It was a deeply ingrained belief system that influenced every aspect of their lives. And while the Ishtar Gate may stand as a symbol of Babylon's power and grandeur, it is also a monument to a civilization that lived in the shadow of a spiritual battle, a war fought not with swords and spears, but with incantations, curses, and the favor of the gods. The origins of Babylonian occult warfare can be traced back to the very birth of civilization itself. Babylon, located in modern-day Iraq, was one of the earliest cities in the world, its history stretching back thousands of years to the dawn of recorded history. Its ancient inhabitants, the Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, and eventually the Babylonians themselves, all contributed to the rich tapestry of spiritual beliefs that culminated in the practices of occult warfare. The Sumerians, the earliest civilization in Mesopotamia, were known for their deep reverence for the spiritual world. They believed in an array of gods and goddesses, each governing different aspects of life and the natural world. Among their most enduring contributions are the cuneiform tablets, the earliest known form of writing, which were often used for religious and magical purposes. Many of these tablets contain prayers, hymns, and incantations, showing the Sumerians' belief in the power of words to influence the spiritual realm. Following the Sumerians, the Akkadian Empire rose to power, inheriting and adapting many Sumerian beliefs. The Akkadians were known for their use of magic and divination, employing complex rituals and omens to understand the will of the gods. It was during this time that the concept of occult warfare began to take shape, as the Akkadians believed that they could seek the favor of the gods or invoke their wrath against their enemies through rituals and incantations. Later, the Assyrian Empire, which succeeded the Akkadians, further developed these practices. The Assyrians were a militaristic society, and they were known for their belief in the power of curses and dark magic to weaken their enemies. This belief extended to their warfare, where they would employ occult rituals and incantations alongside their physical strategies. By the time of the Babylonians, these beliefs and practices had become deeply ingrained in the culture of Mesopotamia. The Babylonians inherited this rich spiritual tradition, adapting it to their own beliefs and incorporating it into their daily lives. The practice of occult warfare was not an aberration, but a natural evolution of millennia-old beliefs, refined and honed through generations of spiritual exploration. However, the Babylonians were not isolated in their practice of occult warfare. Other ancient cultures, such as the Egyptians and the Greeks, also had their own forms of spiritual warfare, often sharing similar beliefs about the power of incantations, curses, and the favor of the gods. These cross-cultural connections hint at a common thread running through ancient civilizations, a shared belief in the power of the spiritual world to influence the physical, and the use of occult practices as a tool in their earthly struggles. In the heart of this ancient culture, the wisdom of occult warfare was preserved, revealed, and passed down by initiates steeped in esoteric knowledge. These individuals, often philosophers, mystics, and occult adepts, held positions of power and influence, their roles intertwining spiritual guidance with practical governance. One of the most notable figures of this time was Enheduanna, an Akkadian princess and the earliest known poet whose name has been recorded. She was a high priestess of the moon god Nana in Ur and the goddess Inanna in Uruk. Enheduanna was known for her hymns, many of which were magical incantations used in rituals and ceremonies. Her writings provide some of the earliest insights into the Akkadian practices of magic and divination, and are a testament to the power of words in the spiritual realm. The Assyrians, too, had their own figures of spiritual authority. The exorcist, Ashipu, was a crucial figure in their society. Tasked with the responsibility of warding off evil spirits and misfortune, the Ashipu used complex rituals and incantations, often inscribed in cuneiform on clay tablets. These sacred texts were considered tools of warfare, used to summon protective spirits or cast curses on enemies. In Babylon, the tradition of occult knowledge was carried on by the priest scribes. These learned men were the keepers of wisdom, responsible for maintaining libraries of sacred texts. They were the initiates into the mysteries of the universe, decoding omens, performing ceremonies, and invoking the gods' favor. The rituals themselves were elaborate affairs, often involving a mix of prayers, offerings, and incantations. They could take days to complete and required a deep knowledge of the complex cuneiform script, the celestial bodies, and the intricate mythology of the Babylonian pantheon. Key to these rituals were cult statues of the gods, believed to be vessels for divine presence. These statues were treated with utmost respect and care, fed, bathed, and clothed daily. It was through these statues that the gods were invoked during rituals, their power summoned to protect the city, bless the army, or curse the enemy. The sacred texts that guided these rituals were equally important. Written in cuneiform on clay tablets, these texts contained hymns, prayers, incantations, and magical formulas. Some of these texts were so powerful it was believed that even their mere possession could bring about divine favor or wrath. In the hands of the initiated, these texts and rituals became potent tools in the arsenal of occult warfare. They were a testament to a belief system where the spiritual and physical worlds were intertwined, where words could summon gods, and where divine favor could determine the outcome of battles. It was a world where warfare was as much a spiritual endeavor as a physical one, a delicate dance between the realms of the seen and the unseen. Within the labyrinthine world of Babylon's occult warfare, everything held a deeper, hidden meaning. Symbols were not just representations, but keys to unlocking the mysteries of the cosmos. These symbols were often grounded in numerology, sacred geometry, alchemy, and celestial alignments, realms of knowledge that transcended the mundane and touched the divine. Numerology played a significant role in the Babylonian worldview. The Babylonians believed in the sacredness of numbers and their intrinsic power. Numbers were not just mathematical concepts, but keys to understanding the universe's inherent order. The number 7, for instance, held a special place in Babylonian lore, often associated with divine completeness and perfection. It was no coincidence that 7 was a recurrent theme in their rituals, with 7 gods, 7 spirits, 7 days of creation, and 7 tiers of the ziggurat. Sacred geometry, too, was an integral part of their mystical knowledge. Babylonians believed that certain shapes and patterns held an inherent spiritual significance. The circle, for instance, represented completeness and the cyclical nature of life, while the square symbolized stability and order. These shapes were often incorporated into their architecture, rituals, and art, imbuing them with an esoteric significance beyond their aesthetic appeal. Alchemy, while not in the modern sense of transmuting base metals into gold, was a vital part of the Babylonian mystical tradition. It was a process of spiritual transformation, a journey from the mundane to the divine. The Babylonians believed that through ritual and the correct application of secret knowledge, one could attain divine wisdom and power. This concept was manifested in their rituals, where substances like incense, oils, and precious metals were used in symbolic ways to represent this transformative process. Perhaps the most distinct aspect of Babylonian occultism was their intricate understanding of celestial alignments. The Babylonians were meticulous astronomers, carefully observing and recording the movements of celestial bodies. They believed that these celestial patterns were not random, but a divine script written by the gods, a cosmic drama unfolding in the heavens. By understanding these celestial patterns, they believed they could predict earthly events, from the rise and fall of kings to the outcomes of battles. Every aspect of Babylonian occult warfare was steeped in symbolism, from the sacred numbers and geometric patterns to the alchemical substances and celestial alignments. They provided a framework for the Babylonians to understand and interact with the divine, to influence the physical world through spiritual means. These were not just abstract concepts, but practical tools in the arsenal of the Babylonian priest-scribes, a testament to a civilization that sought to transcend the physical world and touch the divine. The occult warfare of ancient Babylon was a tapestry of interconnected symbols and rituals, a complex system of hidden meanings and esoteric patterns that veil higher truths. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of Babylonian occult practices, we encounter the forbidden experiments and secret practices once condemned, lost, or banned. They were believed to bridge the realms of spirit, matter, and consciousness, offering a glimpse into an unseen world governed by forces beyond human understanding. One such forbidden practice was the divination ritual known as extispicy. This was a form of prophecy where the entrails of sacrificed animals were meticulously examined to predict future events. The liver, in particular, was considered the seat of the soul, and its condition was thought to reflect the will of the gods. This ritual was considered so powerful that it was strictly regulated by the state, with unauthorized use punishable by death. Another secret practice was the creation of magical talismans. These objects were infused with spiritual energy through complex rituals, transforming them into powerful tools for protection, healing, or harm. The creation of these talismans was a closely guarded secret, known only to a select few. Each talisman was unique, designed for a specific purpose and inscribed with arcane symbols and incantations that were believed to invoke the power of the gods. Perhaps the most controversial of these practices was the invocation of spirits. The Babylonians believed in a multitude of spirits, both benevolent and malevolent, that inhabited the world around them. Through specific rituals and incantations, they claimed to be able to communicate with these spirits, calling upon their aid or warding off their wrath. These rituals were often performed in secret, away from the prying eyes of the uninitiated. They were considered extremely dangerous, with the potential to unleash forces that could not be controlled. The Babylonians also practiced a form of necromancy, communicating with the spirits of the dead to gain knowledge or influence events. This was done through elaborate rituals held in sacred burial grounds under the cover of darkness. The spirits were believed to possess wisdom beyond the mortal realm and could offer guidance or reveal hidden truths. This practice was considered taboo and was shrouded in fear and mystery. These forbidden experiments and secret practices were the shadow side of Babylonian occult warfare, a realm of knowledge that was both feared and revered. They were a testament to the Babylonians' relentless pursuit of the unknown, their willingness to push the boundaries of what was considered possible, to venture into the realm of the divine and the supernatural. They were the darkest threads in the tapestry of Babylonian occultism, a reflection of a civilization that sought not only to understand the divine, but to wield its power. In the face of such potent and dangerous knowledge, it is unsurprising that powerful forces sought to suppress and control these occult practices. From religious institutions to empires, those in positions of power have often feared the unregulated dissemination of esoteric knowledge. The occult arts of ancient Babylon were no exception. The early Christian church, for instance, was one of the most significant suppressors of occult knowledge in ancient times. Viewing these practices as heretical and potentially dangerous, they sought to eradicate them from public knowledge. Documents were destroyed, practitioners persecuted, and the knowledge was driven underground. However, the Church's attempts to obliterate this occult knowledge inadvertently preserved it. By labeling it as heresy, they acknowledged its existence and power, sparking curiosity and ensuring its survival in secret societies and hidden texts. The rise of Islam in the 7th century likewise brought about a significant shift. Although the Babylonian Empire had long since fallen, its occult practices had been woven into the fabric of the region's mystical traditions. Islamic leaders, like their Christian counterparts, sought to suppress these practices. They feared the potential for misuse and the threat they posed to religious orthodoxy. In the modern era, this suppression has taken on a different form. Academic institutions, guided by the principles of rationality and empirical evidence, have often dismissed occult practices as superstition or pseudoscience. Yet despite these dismissals, the occult has remained a persistent undercurrent, often surfacing in the form of fringe groups or alternative religious movements. Yet, amidst this long history of suppression, there have always been protectors of this arcane knowledge. Secret societies, esoteric orders, and individual practitioners have kept the flame of Babylonian occultism alive throughout the centuries. These guardians of the occult have passed down the teachings, often in coded language or hidden symbols, ensuring their survival. These protectors are not just preserving a set of practices or beliefs. They are safeguarding a worldview that acknowledges the existence of unseen forces and the potential for human beings to interact with these forces. This worldview challenges the dominant paradigms of religion and science, offering an alternative understanding of reality. It is this challenge, this threat to established power structures, that has led to the suppression of occult knowledge. Yet, as history has shown, the flame of occult understanding refuses to be extinguished. It lurks in the shadows, ever ready to illuminate those who dare to seek out its secrets. The metaphysical implications of Babylonian occultism are profound, reshaping our understanding of the soul, the afterlife, and the hidden structure of reality. The teachings of this ancient tradition posit that the visible world is but a reflection of an unseen realm, a realm where the true mechanisms of existence are at work. This goes beyond a mere acknowledgement of a spiritual dimension. It suggests that the physical world is an echo, a manifestation of the subtle energies and unseen forces at play in this hidden reality. The soul, in this context, is not a passive, immaterial object that merely awaits its fate in the afterlife. Instead, it is an active participant, a vessel that can navigate and influence this unseen realm. It is through the soul that practitioners of Babylonian occultism sought to engage with the metaphysical, to harness and direct the forces that shape our world. This perspective challenges the traditional conception of the afterlife. Rather than a final destination, the afterlife is seen as a continuation of the soul's journey, a new phase in its ongoing exploration of the unseen realm. It is not a place of reward or punishment, but a realm of existence that holds its own challenges and opportunities. Death, then, is not an end, but a transition, a metamorphosis of the soul as it sheds its physical form and continues its journey in a different form. The hidden structure of reality, as posited by Babylonian occultism, is a complex, dynamic system. It is a network of energies and forces, constantly in flux, with the physical world as its most tangible expression. This is a reality that extends beyond the limits of our senses and our scientific instruments. It is a reality that can only be perceived and interacted with through the soul. This worldview offers an alternative to the dominant paradigms of religion and science. Instead of seeing the world as a creation of a divine entity or as a product of physical laws and processes, it presents the world as a manifestation of unseen forces. It is a worldview that empowers the individual, offering the potential for spiritual growth and transformation. This is the power and the promise of Babylonian occultism. It is an esoteric tradition that provides a path towards personal transformation, a path that requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to explore the unseen. It is a path that leads to a deeper understanding of the soul, the afterlife, and the hidden structure of reality. It is a path that has been walked by countless seekers throughout history, a path that continues to illuminate the shadows, revealing the mysteries of existence. The echoes of Babylonian occultism have reverberated through history, subtly influencing various aspects of modern society. These ancient mysteries, once carefully guarded secrets, have been adapted and integrated into modern spirituality, secret societies, art, and alternative scientific theories. Modern esoteric traditions continue to draw heavily from Babylonian occultism. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, for instance, a secret society founded in the late 19th century, employed symbolism and rituals that can be traced back to ancient Babylon. The order's teachings incorporated elements of Kabbalah, astrology, tarot, and alchemy, all underpinned by the belief in an unseen realm analogous to that proposed by Babylonian occultists. In the realm of modern spirituality, the concept of the soul's journey, a central tenet of Babylonian occultism, resonates strongly. The idea of death as a transition rather than an end, of the afterlife as a realm of opportunities and challenges rather than a place of reward and punishment, is a concept that has found a home in various spiritual systems. Reincarnation, astral projection, and out-of-body experiences are phenomena that echo the Babylonian understanding of the soul's journey through different planes of existence. Art, too, has been a medium through which the influence of Babylonian occultism can be traced. Symbolism drawn from Babylonian occult practices has been integrated into various forms of art, from painting to sculpture, from literature to film. This is perhaps most evident in the symbolism employed by surrealists and other avant-garde artists who sought to explore and represent the unseen realm in their work. Even in the realm of alternative science, the influence of Babylonian occultism can be discerned. The concept of a hidden structure of reality, formed by unseen energies and forces, resonates with theories that propose a quantum or holographic nature of the universe. These theories suggest that the physical world is merely the most tangible expression of a complex, dynamic system, an idea that echoes the worldview of ancient Babylonian occultists. These traces of Babylonian occultism in modern times serve to illustrate the enduring power and appeal of these ancient mysteries. Their influence on art, spirituality, secret societies, and alternative science is a testament to their relevance and resonance, a testament to their ability to offer an alternative perspective on the nature of reality and the potential for personal transformation. The echoes of Babylonian occultism, then, are not merely historical curiosities, but living traditions that continue to shape our understanding of the world and our place within it. As we delve deeper into the mystic labyrinth of ancient Babylonian occultism, we encounter a pantheon of extraordinary interpretations. These fringe revelations, often viewed as the stuff of myth and legend, take on a new form of truth, one which tantalizes the human desire for the mysterious, the unknown, the forbidden. Foremost among these interpretations is the concept of divine messengers, beings of exceptional power and wisdom who acted as intermediaries between the realm of the divine and the world of mortals. These divine messengers, or angels, played pivotal roles in Babylonian occult rituals, their presence invoked to bestow blessings, deliver prophecies, and shield against malevolent forces. The belief in these celestial beings has permeated through the ages, leaving indelible marks on countless spiritual traditions and religious doctrines. Equally fascinating is the notion of energy manipulation, a cornerstone of Babylonian occult practices. Ancient Babylonian occultists were believed to have harnessed and directed unseen energies to manifest their will, a practice akin to modern concepts of magic or quantum mechanics. This mystic energy was considered the lifeblood of the universe, a potent force that could be wielded for healing, divination, and even warfare. The Babylonian understanding of the afterlife also embraced the belief in reincarnation. In this belief system, death was not seen as an end, but rather a transition, a doorway into another existence. This cycle of birth, death, and rebirth was seen as an integral part of the soul's journey, an evolving narrative of lessons learned, wisdom gained, and karmic debts paid. Perhaps the most enigmatic of these fringe revelations is the idea of dimensional gateways, portals that allow passage between different planes of existence. These gateways, often symbolically represented in Babylonian occult art and literature, were believed to be conduits for spiritual travel, doorways to otherworldly realms, realms where time, space, and reality took on different dimensions. Each of these interpretations, while extraordinary, offer tantalizing glimpses into the forbidden knowledge of ancient Babylonian occultism. They serve as reminders of the profound mysteries that abound in our universe, mysteries that elude conventional understanding but beckon to the curious, the daring, and the seekers of truth. As we venture further into the shadows of these ancient mysteries, we come to appreciate the timeless allure of the unseen, the unexplained, the occult. In the quiet corners of our consciousness, where rationality gives way to intuition, we find ourselves drawn to the enigmatic whispers of the ancient Babylonian occult. The arcane practices, the ethereal beings, the manipulation of energies, the concept of reincarnation, and the existence of dimensional gateways all invite us to suspend disbelief and contemplate a reality beyond the confines of our physical world. The spiritual implications of these teachings are profound. They suggest a universe teeming with unseen forces and entities, a cosmos in which our souls are not confined to a single existence, but undergo a continuous cycle of death and rebirth. They hint at the potential for humans to harness and direct the energy of the universe in ways that defy conventional understanding. Yet, these revelations also raise questions. What truths remain concealed within the Babylonian occult lore? What might we discover about our own spiritual nature or the nature of reality itself if these secrets were unearthed? What effect would such knowledge have on our perception of ourselves, our place in the world, and our understanding of life's purpose? Contemplating the Babylonian occult and its implications, we are led to ponder the mystery of our own existence. We are challenged to consider the possibility of a reality where physical laws give way to spiritual truths, where the human soul is not merely a transient spark in the cosmic darkness, but an eternal flame, journeying through dimensional gateways and countless incarnations. In the end, the exploration of ancient Babylonian occultism serves as a mirror, reflecting our own quest for knowledge and understanding. It reminds us of our innate desire to penetrate the veil of the unknown, to seek answers to our deepest questions, and to grapple with the mysteries of existence. As we reflect on the occult warfare in ancient Babylon, we are reminded of the eternal struggle between light and darkness, seen and unseen, known and unknown. It is a dance as old as time itself, a cosmic ballet that continues to shape our lives and destinies. We are left to marvel at the spiritual legacy of the Babylonians, a legacy that continues to resonate and inspire, reminding us of the infinite mysteries that lie beyond the threshold of our current understanding. And so, we stand on the precipice of revelation, peering into the abyss of the unknown, awed by the sheer magnitude of the cosmic mysteries that await our discovery. It is a journey into the heart of the ancient Babylonian occult, a quest for truth that transcends time and space, inviting us to awaken to the boundless possibilities of our own spiritual evolution. And in this awakening, we might just find the keys to unlocking the hidden depths of our own nature and the cosmic truths that shape our reality. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of the Occult Knowledge Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now.